Hey, it's Joy. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing a card using the My Best Friend stamp set, and I'm going to feature the Yorkie. This has been a long-awaited video because I've had quite a few people ask how to color this Yorkie. So I stamped this onto smooth cardstock in a Copic friendly ink, and I start out by coloring the muzzle and the beard area. And I'm going to use warm grays for this. So when I color hair or fur, I tend to tackle this into pieces. That's what makes sense to me, and that's how I was taught. So the first thing I do is put a cast shadow on top of the mustache area. And then I also put it below so that there's a shadow that's going to overhang the tongue and the rest of the beard. And I'm doing that in a W7. I am putting all of the colors up on the screen so that you can see this. Now, a little bit about My Best Friend stamp set. It does have a coordinating die, and it comes with 3 dogs, a Chihuahua, a Lab, and a Yorkie. You could also color it as a Westie or any other little dog. So I continue again with that W7 and W5, and I start to flick that out from the nose and also from the outer portions of what I'm calling the mustache. And then with the W5, I just continue those lines and fill it in. Next, I bring in the W3 and I continue the exact same process. So this is basically, just normal blending with the exception of flicking in the lines. So you'll notice that my pen is pretty straight up and down. Now, another thing that I was asked was how to draw in eyes. So I am going to use the E51, and I'm drawing in like an arched area around the pupils. So the black part of the eye that you see stamped is actually the pupil. If you don't want to get into all the creative color placement, you could just keep it as a black eye. Then I come in with my E57 and I start to draw in some of those lines that I see on the outside of that E51 because I want to leave some white space. So this is going to look really scary until it doesn't. And then with that E57, I again put that cast shadow around the top fuzz of his head. That way we're going to have delineation between the lights and the darks and the different sections of the face. Now, full transparency, I do later on come in with an E59, but I wanted to reserve the scary dark so that I could put texture in. So a really good way to add texture to your images is either with the lightest color and leaving a lot of highlight, or by using the scary dark. And I find with hair, putting in a scary dark in, you could even use an E79, which would be even darker and give you more definition, but I'm going to keep this as easy as possible. Now, everything that I'm using is going to be linked in the description box below if you are interested, as always. And I apologize that this is a little bit of a longer video. This has actually been sped up by 2 times for the sake of time. Now I'm coming in with the E55, which is the next color. So in all reality, the E55 is going to be your mid-tone color. And what mid-tone means in the coloring world is that it's the color that your eye sees the most. So in order to have the scary dark, you've got to have the lights in the medium. So this is where you're going to start to see the face really take some shape. And you're also going to notice that around the eye, I start to draw in around that arch. And I'm just extending some of those shadows. And I'm getting rid of that really like deep dark color for the, for the outside of the eye. And then I start to feather that in everywhere, basically where there's fur so the face and the paws are all going to be this brown color. And then the the body is going to be the warm grays or the black colors. My next color is the E53, and this is going to be my highlight color, with the exception of I'm leaving some white space. White space is key when you're doing hair or any type of texture. For the eyes, I am using E35 and E97 because they're a little bit golden, which if you ever look at a dog's eyes, sometimes they have that golden look. If you lose some of the white space in your eye, you can come in with a blender pen, which is a 0 for Copics, or you can bring a gel pen in. Now, be mindful that if you use a gel pen, you cannot color over that. So it's the last thing you want to do. You do not want to use any gel or any paints underneath your Copics. So it's the last thing you're going to color. So always be mindful of that, because you can clog up your nibs and you can really mess up your markers and would have to buy another nib later on. Now for his paws, the underneath part where the hair kind of like folds over, I'm doing that all in the E59 because that would be the darkest part, or the part that's in shadow. And then I just start to feather that around so that we get the illusion of a round or three-dimensional item. Next, I come in with the E57, and we're working this the same as we have for all the other part of the image. We are just extending those feathered marks, and we're going to bring in and enclose the area. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you have stuck out with me the whole time for this video, I would really love it if you would consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below, because that really makes the YouTube algorithm happy, for less than better words. One thing else to mention about Pajama Crafter Stamps, which is the home of Prickly Pear Stamps, we have a spring cleaning sale going on. So we have over 100 stamps and dies that are at least 50% off on the website. So you might want to go check that out. Now I'm coming in with the W7, and I am extending the shadow underneath the chin. And then I start to do flicks that are a little bit curved so that we give the chest the illusion of being rounded or curved. And I'm going to continue to work that in. And I'm also going to the bottom part of the hair that's hanging down between the legs. And that's because that area would be in shadow. So we're going to have a nice highlight in the center of the chest. I am also coloring that tail, just one solid color of a W7 and a 5. And then from there, I'm going to bring in the W3 just so that you can see kind of what's going on. So the W3 is going to be the lightest color. I also feather that W3 in around the brown part of the legs so that it's seamless. For the tongue, I'm using R83 in the back and an R20 in the front. And then for the ears, I start with an E04, which is usually the color that I would do lips. But I think it looks better with the E04. And then I take a W1 and I glaze over that just to knock it back. Then I come in with that white gel pen and I do the eyes. So you're going to notice that all of my white marks on the eyes are in the exact same place. This is really important with eyes because light doesn't change just because you're on a right and left eye. They're exactly in the same spot. So if you want your animal or your person not to look cross-eyed, put the white marks exactly in the same spot. Here I am building a shaker card using a frame die from my stash, and I'm popping that up on foam tape. Now I'm using puppy paw clay slices from Pajama Crafter Stamps, and I'm putting that down onto my red panel. You'll notice that it is a pattern paper. I just thought that that was a fun element. I am popping up the Yorkie, and then I'm using Good Grief, which is a word die from my stash. And now I'm embossing the Been Missing You with using my Rabbit Hole Designs embossing tool, which is in the Pajama Crafter Stamps shop. So here's some final looks at my cards, zooming in and out. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate your time and liking, subscribing, and thumbs upping. Until next time, keep crafting. Be blessed. Bye-bye.